Cool.
Yeah, okay, well, signals have dropped off a bit. You're about 5 over the 9 with me now, and Adrian down in Poldew, you're down a little bit as well, so Dick's still a good signal. He's romping in here okay, but Adrian also up in Croydon, you're down a bit as well. You pick it up, Adrian, up in Croydon.
Yeah, okay, mate, well, you're still about plus 10. Aid, you're plus 10. And John was plus 15. And Colin, you were at 10. And you went up to plus 15. And you're now down to plus 10, which is no problem. Yeah, morning, Aid, down in Poldew. I know what you mean about the daisies. Yeah, we've had a great influx of daisies this year, more so than last year. And also, I think John was mentioning dandelions or something, which is, I love those because I pick the leaves and the chickens love them, you know. Absolutely love them. So if I ever see one, I just grab hold of it and pull it up, you know, by the roots and just chuck it into the run, and they all go mad for it. So that's quite good. Anyway, over to you, Aid. Trust you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Aid. Yes, yeah, no problems at all. Yeah, must get going in a minute. I've got quite a bit of work to do today. Well, I'm doing the Renault. I got brake pads disc coming for it today for the front, and I've got pads ready for the back, and I've replaced the exhaust mount on it yesterday, which was a bit of a job, but got that on all right. So, and then I can get it back in for an MOT and get that sorted then. It's amazing how time goes on. It doesn't seem 12 months since I was rewiring that Beetle that I did, you know, and making a new wiring harness for it. And it's over 12 months since I did that, and I got the MOT on it, and it's done about 4 miles since I did it, and it's parked with its cover on. So I couldn't believe that it was over 12 months and the MOT had run out since I last did anything on it. So there we go. Yes, I'll make this a final, I think, and I'll say 7.3, and it'd be interesting to see what the performance figures are, John, on the new radios. You know, this new Kenwood and this new and this new Yaesu radio. But I don't know. They seem to hit brick walls with these performance figures, where they don't seem to be able to get them any better than what they are. So I don't honestly think if I had a new radio I'd be gaining much, to be honest. So some is pretty good spec. So I'll leave it at that, I think. Plus I don't do enough now. I used to be on the radio a lot, but I'm not on the radio now too much. Only in the mornings and occasionally on the net in the evening. Anyway, with that I'll say 7.3 to everybody and catch you all in the morning. And over to you, Colin.
Yeah, cheers, Adrian. Yeah, well, I think John was going as well, so it's coming up to that time, and at nearly 8 o'clock. So, I think I might pull the switch as well, unless you've got anything else to comment on, Croydon.
No, I'm just sending a message to Susie saying 9:15, okay, which means I'll pick up Vinny, so that's gone. No, I'm going to pull the plug and have a shower and a shave and everything. Get a bit fed up with shaving sometimes. Sometimes if I don't, if I'm not going to see anybody all day, I mean, I might go shopping or something. But if I'm not, if I've got no visitors, then I'll leave it for a day, but no more than a day, because it gets a bit, bit difficult. And I'm very loath to spend too much money on these blooming expensive refill blades, Gillette refill blades. I mean, they do last me a good 2 weeks or more, one blade, but they're so blooming expensive. And, you go online, you can't seem to get them cheap anywhere, You end up going to the supermarket, but there you go. Yeah, okay, well, I'll pull the plug. It's nice and sunny, little bit breezy. It's going to be nice. A chance of rain, I think, this afternoon from 3 o'clock till 7 o'clock. Although the precipitation percentage is quite low, so it might just be the odd I don't know, rumble or whatever. We'll have to wait and see. So you have a good day, all of you, and I'll catch you later.
Yeah, okie dokies, yeah. Cheers then, I'll pull the plug as well. Any shortwave listeners, I bid you all a very good day. G0 Hotel, Delta Hotel closing down. Bye-bye all.
Yeah, cheers, so yeah, I'll pull the plug now as well. Yeah, hey, if you're still listening, I just buy a bag of those disposable razors, those fairly cheap plastic ones that it baked or whatever, and they're good enough. So what I do is I have an electric shave first, which gets most of it off, and then just finish it off with one of those disposable razors. You know, I find that does the trick, and they last literally ages. Okay then, I'll say 7 3s to everyone, and any shortwave listeners, GW0AGZ now going QRT. Cheers.
Don?
Yes?
I'm not sure whether the disposable ones, they're nearly all of them, aren't they, single-bladed? I think the 2 and the 3 blades, I mean, they now do 4 or 5 blades, don't they? Supposedly get it off quicker, but I mean, I use the 3-bladed refills for the Gillette, and you're still going over the same area probably 5 or 6 times in different directions, even with a 3-bladed, to get it all off, Roger?
Well, I don't know really. I just do what I do. I don't really think about it to that depth, but I suppose I do repeat visiting the same site more than once or twice, maybe. I don't know, but it does the job, and that's all that really matters, isn't it? You know. And as I say, I just use the electric shaver first, gets most of it off, and then finish it off with the blade, you know, with the disposable. And there's no great expense incurred whatsoever, Ed. So anyway, there we go. Okay, I hope that answers your question. We can discuss this in greater depth next time, Ed. Yeah? Okay then, 7 3s for now, Ed. GW0AGZ.
Yeah, one thing I use aerosol foam shaving cream. And, you know, I find the Sainsbury's Own, which is 50 pence a can, it works perfectly well, you know, so that's not bad, is it?
Well, that's the penalty of branding, isn't it? They develop a brand, and people pay more for the same stuff, don't they? Whereas if you get the no-name stuff, it's probably just as good. Well, it's certainly worth a look at, and you can save yourself quite a bit of money, Ed. Anyway, there we are. That's the way the world works. GW0AGZ. Cheers, Ed.
Cheers, mate. Have a good day.
Thanks.
You're still listening, Clive. G0OEB, G4UPE.
G4UPE, G0OEB. Yeah, you're 59 plus with me, Dick. And nice to hear you this morning. Back to you, G4UPE, G0OEB.
Okay, Clive. Yeah, lovely to hear you as well, mate. You know, you're about 57, and as you say, you got problems with the linear, but at least you're okay. Right, I had to wait a long time, Clive. I've got a very, very busy day. Lovely to hear you, mate. Very, very best regards. G0OEB, G4UPE. Take care, Clive.
Yeah, G4UPE, G0OEB. Yeah, thanks, Dick. Well, I've got 15 more sessions of radiotherapy over the next fortnight or so, and then I'm done on that, and hopefully they'll give me the all clear. So there we are. So that's me off in an hour or so up the hospital. So I've got to get myself moving, Dick. So have a busy day. Have a good one. And yeah, okay on the trade. Yeah. Well, I finished up life as a Sparky, mate. So there we are. 7 3s, Dick. Speak to you soon. God bless. Bye.
Okay, Clive. Good luck with the last of the tests, mate. Lovely to hear your voice this morning. And I've gone 60 metres now. G0OEB, G4UP. There you go, Clive. Cheers.
Dit is Peter Milken.
Sorry.
Ja, goedemorgen Albert, hè? P&O Alpha. Weer thuis neem ik aan?
Ja hoor, helemaal weer thuis. Alles weer lekker groot en ruim. Ja, dat is toch wel weer even een verschil, hè? Oh, je ziet dat ik wat te veel herrie maak. Ik zal zo even de audio wat draaien. Er heeft weer een nieuw pakket software in. Waarschijnlijk heeft hij een schuifje eigenlijk niet op een plek gezet waar ik hem niet wil hebben. Kan ook u ten Alfa?
Ja, oké, Albert. Ja, het klinkt niet zo mooi als ik van jou gewend ben. Hè. Het klinkt een beetje schel eigenlijk. Ja, er zit heel veel hoog in. Dat kun je ook wel zien, ja. Ja, ik kan me voorstellen. Weer lekker thuis, alles bij de hand en groot en ruim. Ja, dat is ook wel weer wat. Hè. Ik dacht dat ik nog iemand hoorde roepen. Dit is PA0Q.
Ja, goedemorgen. PA0G, ja. Goedemorgen.
Ja, de grote baas is er ook, hè. P0GA en Menno P0DML. Goedemorgen.
Ja, ik denk dat ik nu weer normaal ben, hè. Voor zover dat mogelijk is. And look at a
window frame. I was stripping the hardwood window frame, just the varnish off yesterday, so I'm hoping to get that first coat of varnish on today. We're getting the rain. It's quite overcast and quite windy this morning actually, so not the nicest of days. I thought we were going to get quite a few consecutive days because it's a reasonable size base window. It's going to take a fair bit of work, but to as soon as possible. So I'll get off, get some breakfast and get back into the stripping mode. Morning to you, Ian. You have quite a readable signal. Looking on the
the area was quite frustrating. Me and another guy stick off and went to see to avoid the space of each to port, but in the back of reckless too. So you walk along and you just down here to the
boatyard, and that was where it was built and launched. And it was because it's been all around different shows that they go to now, the Matthew. But yeah, there we go. Anyway, that's the end of the horizontal net. It's 8 o'clock. We won't hang about anymore today. The sun has just come out. The sky is turning blue, and hopefully it'll be a lovely day. Got a bit more work to do on the other patio set outside, which I showed a picture of on the horizontal net. I got one coat on the tabletop, another coat to go on there, and start to turn it over and do the legs and get some varnish on it to prepare it for use. We've used it once for a barbecue this year, but hopefully we'll with the up and coming spring bank holiday, and hopefully we'll get a nice weekend. Let's put the kibosh on that, and it'll be raining, pouring now. All the best. 73 everyone. Mike 0 Tango Papa Golf. Open clear. Bye all.
Cheers, Tony.
Taking over, Colin, and pass it on to
G3TSK, M1BBC. Roger. Well, I wished I was a sort of spider, if you like, with a lot of legs, because I was trying to do so many things at once here. But you came through Hut Green very well, Paul, and I'm just going to try and record it, because I like to hear what I'm like and make adjustments, but there's so much noise on there that I'll not bother. Anyway, good morning to you. I heard Ray is got 5 and 8 Ray, which equates about 25 megavolts on this 640. And I'm using a chart that Martin sent me very kindly. And I must just turn this down. Hang on a minute. I beg your pardon, there's just too much noise here. That's better. Thank you very much there for waiting there. So yes, sounds a handy little device that I came across a book, Ray, 741 Projects, and it's amazing what you can do with that little device. And I've got several 741s there in my armory. So there we go there. A nice signal from you there, Paul. and hope you're well. I'm feeling a bit sort of, okay. I did a 9.6 mile on Sunday and all that heat, and honestly, I nearly pegged out. I've never been so tired, I think, as long as I can remember. And they had to all wait for me when they got to the hills there. And when they got the last stile there, they had to literally lift me over. It was as bad as that. However, yesterday I went and did an 8 miler just to say I could. And I finished in much better fettle. And I'm leading a walk on Sunday, so there you go. A glutton for punishment. But you know, when I got back to the promenade from doing that 8 miler, good, and I more or less ran to Morrison's where I had a child's meal there and met Sheila, and I felt great. So I think what it is, Paul, preparation, you know. If you haven't done a lot of walking, you suddenly go into a 9.6 or 9.8 miler that involves some very steep hills in a very short distance, then you're asking for trouble, and certainly I did anyway. So I'm looking up the sky here, and I'm thinking about raised clouds, and there's blue patches, but the clouds aren't to any great height, so if it did rain, it would be just a few drops of drizzle. And I hope I've got that right, Ray, because I did read that article that you sent me. I found it very illuminating, and I'm going to talk about that on my next half of a sack full of nuts and bolts, so there we go. So, Paul, I wonder how you're fettling this morning there. M1 PBC, G3 TSK. Go ahead, please, Paul.
G3 TSK, M1 PBC. Yes, okay, Colin. Well, you're 10 over here. No problem at all. Yeah, bit hot for that sort of walking. Mind you, Colin, I think I'll probably walk 9 miles around the Dunstable Rally. I was there for 5 hours, going up and down and round and round, backwards and forwards to the car. So there you go. I had a great day, and certainly by the time I got back to the car and we drove off, I'd had enough. It too was hot there. What's more, in the early morning, because I got there very early, the grass was soaking wet, so my shoes soon became very wet indeed, so I was walking around with wet feet. There you go. So let me say 7-3 to Brian and Ray. Good to hear you guys on. And good morning to Ian there in Bristol, 20 over 9. Ian, so you're top of the shop for me. Now that Stuart isn't on, he was 30 over 9 this morning on the ET4336. Brilliant signal, as usual. And Dave, although you were 5 over 9 at the beginning of your over, I think you did something, and although you were readable, there was a bit of a distortion on your audio, which is not normally there. So whatever you did really didn't improve matters. You were a better signal when you started the over, and I think you said you were over driving, so I couldn't see any problem on the trace, and it certainly sounded better initially. But there you go. As I say, we could follow it and read it, although I missed the battery you were talking about, but I don't know what voltages you're looking for, Dave, but of course the most capacity that you can get for the lightest type of battery these days is lithium-ion cells, and they come in multiples of 3.7 volts. That's the voltage of a single lithium-ion cell. So, you know, often you can go down that route and really save your back, because some of those have got a horrendous amount of power in them, which is why they can be so dangerous if they're not treated correctly. But there you go. I'll just throw that one into the equation. What else? Well, let's keep it going round. Not a lot, I think. I'm busy here playing with the bits. Oh yes. people with AVOs and what have you. Well, 2 comments, guys. Yes, I use digital voltmeters, but do be aware that a lot of them are totally useless when you come to using them in the high RF content. So if you're checking your PA with a digital voltmeter, don't believe what it's reading. It's probably being fooled by the RF. And the digital is also useless when the signal's varying, whereas the analog, you see the meter going up and down. So I use both, and in my mind, there is no better analog meter for robustness and accuracy than the AVO. It's been going many years, and I've had many of them through my hands. I would hate to think of how many AVOs I've repaired. I used to buy them, repair them, and then sell them again at radio rallies for no great profit indeed. I just used to enjoy working on them because they're beautifully made, and once you get into it, they're pretty simple to fix, with the exception of the meter movement, and even that is well, if it's just dirt in the pole pieces, you can usually clean it out with a bit of care, and they're up and running again. So yeah, I'm a great fan of the AVO multimeter, and the best one in my mind they ever made was the Model 8 Mark IV, which was the one before they used the FPC and made the case thin and nasty. It really was built like a tank, that one. As long as you didn't drop it, the Bakelite does suffer if you drop them. As I found one fell off the bench, landed on a concrete floor, and bust into many pieces. Wasn't a total loss. Most of the bits went in other AVOs to fix them. Right, enough of that. Round to you, Andy. G4OJY, M1PVC.
Yeah, 1PVC, G4OJY. It's okay for all coming from you there. And about 5 to 6 of the college. So and weather report here is not great deal off trip off. I'm just going to find my way and get some breakfast. I'm on standby today, so fingers crossed that I get away with it and I don't have to go in. So that's about it from me, and I'll hopefully be on in the morning there. So let me see, it's round to Ian now, isn't it? G6 TVJ in the group, G4OJY.
G4OJY from G6 TVJ. Okay, thanks for that, Andy. Well, I'm struggling a bit with a few stations here. So I can hear Paul, your nice, lovely, strong signal, and morning to your fantastic signal into Bristol this morning. Very well done. You're about 20 over 9. Poor old Ray and unfortunately I'm struggling with you this morning. And Brian, if you're still listening, you weren't too bad. You're peaking about 10 over 9, but I've got the dreaded QSB sort of washing in and out, so I'm getting over only every other word. And some of the conversations is a bit difficult. But Colin, you're a great signal this morning. I don't know what you're running this morning, but really good into Bristol. But there we are. Anyway, I wasn't really. I mentioned AVOs. I wasn't trying to offend any AVO owners. But I haven't really made much use of them here. But I have got this beautiful one, like in a wooden box, in a wooden case, but I can't find it. I was going to just have a quick look at it to see if it had a model number on it. But that's a really nice thing. It's in a perfectly unscratched wooden case. It's like a sort of antique. But I think it must have been some sort of standard thing. But I can't find it at the moment. I was just looking around, but I thought it was in a cupboard in the shack, but can't quite see
do that. But in terms of analog and digital gauges, I tend to use digital meters all the time for most things. I've got more than one, and my brother's got. I usually borrow one from my brother, so I end up with like 2 or 3. I'm a great fan of the Fluke 177. Those Fluke multimeters are quite expensive, but very, very good. And sadly, I blew one up the other day. The trouble with all this valve stuff with HT volts and things, you can't blow digital meters up, and I unfortunately blew one up. So I got to let that get another one. But funnily enough, with some of my other projects, I'm messing about with jet engines and gas turbines, and I always use analog meters. Never use any sort of digital meter. Always like things with analog scales. Much easier to see what's going on than just looking at sort of random numbers sort of flicking around. So I think digital analog meters they have their places, don't they? Well, fine on the walking in the heat. It was a nice day on Sunday, but fair thought to the. I was working on the television coverage of the great Manchester Run up in Manchester on Sunday, and there was many thousands of people running the streets of Manchester in the warm weather. So fair thought for them. But I don't think it was the London Marathon that was back in April. But there we are. Still got a bit of actually got slightly less sunshine than we had before. More it's edging towards cloudy rather than sunny in Bristol at the moment. There's quite a breeze there as well. Yeah, not sure what's going on there. I'm hoping to ride my bicycle later, but I think it's going to be hard work in one direction or other. There we are. Anyway, if you can still hear me, Dave, I'll pass it on to you. I did copy you, but you say you're only about 5 over 9, but this dreaded QSB was just washing in and out on every other word, so bit difficult. But I wonder how you might be this time anyway. So over to you, GH4FH from G6TVJ.
G8YFH, you there, Dave? M1PVC calling you in. Yeah, okay, Dave. Understand you're having problems there copying. So 7-3 to you, and we'll catch you further down the log. And comes back to you, Colin. Group is diminishing. PSK, 7PVC.
Tango Sierra Kilowatt, yeah, fine. And my goodness, my SWR is way out. It's unbelievable. If it hasn't been a transistor set, it would have blown up. Hang on a minute, please, just hang on a minute. I'll go up to the alternative. I think that's looking much better. But if that had been a solid state set, that would have caused problems. You would have had the ALC come in and there would have been no output. So there we go. Where are we now? Meters. Well, Paul, I couldn't agree with you more. 100%. 100%. There's a place for them both. And when you come to tuning, like the AVC and this sort of thing, there's nothing, in my opinion, can beat an analog meter. So I've got a couple of AVOs, and I find them very, very useful. My general work is with the digital meter because of its very, very high sort of input resistance, but nevertheless. And I also think that the analog meters are much better for pulse modulation and the spiky waveforms. But I've always treasured the AVO 8, and when my one has gone faulty for whatever reason, and I haven't been able to repair it, I've gone out and got another one. So there you go. I'm with you with that 100%. I think the same with you there, Ian. But very interesting, the Manchester Run, by the way. Well, I was walking, I'll tell you what, on Sunday, and it was hot enough. Really, really hot, and we were in the shade, so I take my hat off to the village. But Ian, when I got back to the village hall, I had 2 massive mugs of tea and 2 massive mugs of barley water. And my gosh, they went down like a kite and stayed down as well. I also had a big bit of chocolate cake. And if that doesn't put sort of back on track, nothing will. And below, but yesterday I thought was extremely hot as well. So anyway, I think we've cracked that now, and we should be ready for Sunday when I'm reading the walk again now. So what we're saying here about flukes, your jet engine, I keep smiling when you're talking about the jets here, you know. Oh dear me, if I ever cross there, I'll have to come along and see just what's going on there. It really is interesting there. And okay, Andy, on the drizzle, thank you very much for that weather report. I'd just like to know, it's part of home, you know, County Durham, and I think we'll be up later in the year. But so many things in the diary, so many things coming up, Andy, it's really, really difficult to get a spot, what with hospital appointments and Probus and Sheila with this, that and the other and what have you. It's very difficult to sort of get it now run, if you know what I mean. And okay, on your shoes getting wet, Paul, I wonder if you bought any goodies there, because the early bird gets the worm, isn't it, you know, and it strikes me you were there quite early there at the rally, and I wonder if you managed to come back with any goodies, fill your car boot up, and that sort of thing. So just a job. And I will have to look up an ET4336, whatever that is, and just see what Stuart's running there. An ET4336. It runs off the tongue very well, doesn't it? So there we go. Evo, Rally, Signals, okay, in Bristol. Well, yes, thank you very much for that. I don't know how it's done, but there you go. Propagation is strange, isn't it? And the Manchester room, which I think would be very interesting. So, over to you, Paul. M1 PVC, Golf 3 Tango, Sierra Kilowatt. Go ahead, please, over.
E3 TSK, M1 PVC. Yes, okay, Colin. Yes, I bought a lot of components and bits, basically, and cases to make things. If I see an old unit, there was a frequency meter, a National Physics Laboratory frequency meter in a superb case, one of these old cases with the rounded corners all the way round, and anyway, I bought it very cheaply, just basically for the case. When I got it home and took the thing out of its case, to my surprise, I found that it had one of the old Bulgin 5-amp 3-pin connectors on it, mains connector and socket, and just look at the prices on eBay if you want to know what they fetch. It also had a Bulgin optional plug and socket on it, perfect condition, very usable as far as I'm concerned. It had 7 valves in it, 3 of which were 12 AU7s, and one was a 6CH6, all very usable, and certainly equipment I've got around here uses them. And then it had a host of other bits and pieces in it, but I only bought it for the case, and as I say, I didn't spend much money on it, just a few pounds, so I was pretty pleased with that. I bought a lot of transformers when they were cheap, and I now have plenty of transformers for future projects. Too many, because I know the transformers are like, you've never got one that's got the right voltages on it and the right current capability, but now I have. In fact, I was quite pleased with myself because I saw a very nice 0700 volt transformer at about 250 milliamps on the winding, and it was being sold by a DMARS member, and he asked a respectable £20 for it, but that's way above what I would pay for a transformer that I don't know that I'm going to use. And I walked down the line and there was the identical unit sitting there on a tarpaulin for a £5, so I bought that one instead. And then I got a hernia carrying it back to the car. So yeah, I did very well, Colin. Got a lot of bits and pieces, components. Didn't buy any radios, didn't buy any transmitters. just bits for making them and repairing them and keeping them maintained. But it was a great day, a load of people there, wall-to-wall sunshine, absolutely enjoyable. So I did enjoy that. I don't think my good lady did, but she's very patient, and there you go. Oh, and I bought a Moor and Wright. Well, this won't particularly interest you guys if you're not engineers, but there was a Moor and Wright, what do you call it? I call it a bevel gauge, but it is basically for measuring angles. And this thing was in its box. It was brand new, obviously had not been used, with all of the bits that go with it. Very useful for my machine shop. And although I had one, the one I've got is in pathetic condition. This was really nice. And well, I bought it for an unbelievable cheap price. A few pounds, so I was very happy with that. Then I disgraced myself by buying a lathe faceplate, which I was sure was Myford, and when I got home I found it's got a Boxford thread in it, but as it only cost me a couple of quid, I don't think I'll worry about that. Anyway, let's keep it going round. Round to you, Andy. G4OJY, M1PVC. That's Andy signed, and I missed that. I was beginning to lose Andy. So, round to you, Ian. G6TVJ, M1PVC.
M1PVC, G6TVJ returning. Okay, Paul, all copied there. Still a good signal. I was interested to hear about Dunstable Rally. I've never been to that one, and I was wanting to go to that one. My problem is I get quite a lot of my work is at weekends. I do tend to miss rallies, and Dunstable is definitely one I'd like to have gone to, especially if the weather's nice. It brings more traders out and all the car boot stuff. So I will glad you found lots of bits and pieces. I'm hoping to make the Newbury rally. That's another one that's very vulnerable to the weather because that's all out in the field. So I do hope to get nice weather for that one because I've sort of left that date free in my diary. But there we are. Well, Colin, you're still a good signal. If you had problems with your antenna tuner, you'll still there are lots of power is reaching Bristol. So if you're worried about some of it going back into your transmitter and doing it harm, you certainly plenty of it was reaching Bristol. So I think you haven't got too bad a match with your aerial there. You've got a relatively high SWR. That sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? But anyway, you're still a good signal. When you adjusted something, you didn't really make much difference to your signal. Still had quite a bit of dreaded QSB, but all copied anyway. Well, I've got. If you never need any ECC82s, 12AU7s, I've got thousands of those here, Paul. Do you know how to tell? I found a way in which you can identify. If you get a 12AU7 and a 12AX7, and that's an ECC82 and ECC83. I found the way in which you can tell them apart. If the writing's been rubbed off them, if you look with a magnifying glass, there's a tiny little hole in the side of the anode, and you can see the grid. And if you look at the grid with an eyeglass or a magnifying glass or maybe even a microscope or something, the grid wires on an ECC83, a 12AX7, are much finer and closer together than they are on a 12AU7. So if you're rummaging around in a box full of valves at a rally, you take an eyeglass, you can even tell them apart. So there's quite an obvious difference between the two grids. But otherwise, they look absolutely completely identical, especially the Mullard ones. So I know there are other variants that might have other differences, but the Mullard ones, of which I've got plenty here, the grids are definitely quite different. Anyway, not much else to say really. Yeah, still, I think a slightly deteriorated weather situation in Bristol. So I'll probably make this my final actually, and probably nip down and get some toast and start the day. I've got a few days off now, so I've got lots of bits and pieces to do. So I wish you all 73s anyway, and I wonder who's next. Well, I'll pass it on to Dave in case you're still there, Dave, and then perhaps it then goes back to Colin. So G8YFH from G6TVJ, if you're still there.
Can't hear a thing.
No, I think both sound. So 7-3 to you, Ian. It goes to Colin, but just before that, the what I call the Dunstable Rally, because it's a Dunstable club, it's at Luton, and it's like the Newbury one, but it's bigger, but it's open air, so you're restricted to the weather again. Round you, Colin, just D and me, G3 TSK, M1PBC.
Well, thanks for that report there. That was interesting. And I made a note of the things that you called there. I haven't been to any rallies this year, and I think I'm only going to go to one. If it happens, that'll be Western Supermare rally in September. That'll be the only one, I'm afraid. The thing is, Pauline, I get this stuff, and I haven't got the time to use it. It's such a shame to it, because when I was sort of starting off, you know, I was stripping stuff down just to get bits and pieces, and now I've got the bits and pieces, and there's so much clutter now in my life, you know. Well, not clutter, but you know, I'm going to Provis this morning. I'm going to have lunch with the lads, so by the time I get back home, it's going to be about 1 o'clock or 1:30, you know. Then I'll probably have a coffee and try and do the crossword by the time before 1 o'clock. I might just have a drive for half an hour. That brings us at 4 o'clock. And so we go on, you know, and so I look back on the week and think, well, what have I done? I seem to be occupied all the time, but what has been the achievement? So there you go. I take my hat off to you. Do it when you can, Paul, because, you know, you start as if I can't be bothered to do this, I can't be bothered to do that. And it takes quite a bit of willpower to get out of the chair once you're settled in there. But fine on that unit you bought there. 6CH6. I think I have several of those, I'm not sure. An interesting tip though, Ian, about the grid on the 12DX7. I've written that down actually. Bulging 3-pin 5-amp plugs. Well, I wouldn't have thought they were much sought after, to tell you the truth now. But there you go. I hardly ever go on eBay anyway. Oh, and I haven't bought myself. I've got one of these iPhone things, and that's what I've been spending my time with. And I'll tell you what, oh dear me, why are things so complicated? Or is it just me? Anyway, by the time I sort of managed to hit the keyboard with my fingers, I got the actual letter or number that I wanted, you know, well, half the afternoon was over. So there you go. I think I got the hang of it now. It just wants a slight touch. Just a slight touch is sufficient. And I have a tendency to press a little bit too hard, so a slight touch. So I've got the hang of it now, but and I've got it working on the phone, I've got it working on emails, I've got it working on camera, and I've got it working on most things. So it's coming on, but by gosh, a steep learning curve, a very, very steep learning curve. So my brain's been rather warm, and with it being the hot weather, it hasn't helped. Anyway, Paul, lovely talking to you, and to you, Ian, and the lad there, Ray, and you up there in Tower Row. I think I'll have a listen to you there, Paul, and I'll get down and have some breakfast. I've got to meet the lads at 10:15, and they'll give me a lift up to the Provost place. So, looking forward to a nice day, and it's not quite so warm, although now it's blue sky, but we'll see what happens. So bye-bye to you all, and Paul, I'll listen to you over. M1PBC, call 3 Tango, Sierra Kilowatt, G3 TSK, bye-bye to you all.
G3 TSK, M1PBC, yes, okay, Colin, well, I hope you enjoy your day. Yeah, the broken plugs, Colin, well, not a lot of broad junk that you and I have, people want it. And the reason that they want those 3-pin plugs is they were used on the old quad valve equipment that the audio fools lust after, and they were also heavily used on Marshall and other guitar amplifiers that the musicians use, and they're not very strong, those plugs. If you drop the lead on a hard floor, they break. So the musicians are always after them, and they do a roaring trade on eBay. There is actually a guy selling new ones. I don't know where he got them and whether Bulgins still make them, because they've been outlawed for a long while as being dangerous. But they still make them, or he's selling new ones for about £25 each. But I've seen the old ones sell in excess of £40 each. And I've sold one for even more than that, and I'm not even saying how much it was, but it was a guy in Beverly Hills who had more money than sense, and he needed one for his guitar amplifier, and well, he paid an obscene amount of money for it. So I smiled, and he was happy. In fact, he gave me glowing feedback. Anyway, I don't bother now. It's too much hassle selling them, but as I say, if you want to do a bit of naughty trading, it's one way you can do it. But when I do see them at rallies, I usually pick them up, because you never know, Colin. There comes a time when you fall on hard times and you might need a little extra cash. And well, as I've said, your PX4s will certainly bring you that. KT88s will. Anything that the audio people go after makes silly, obscene amounts of money. You've only got to look on eBay. If you've never bothered to look at that site, you've missed a lot, because you might find that what your good lady thinks is a load of rubbish is actually cash in the bank if you sell it to the right place. So there you go. But there are much better modern equivalents of those 3-pin Bulgin plugs, and they did make some that were safe. And the interesting thing is those 3-pin trailing sockets, when they started to fall into times, they actually put the wording on the back, maximum 50 volts. The problem was that if the plug smashed or that back piece came disconnected, there were live terminals exposed. Have a great day, Colin. Good to talk to you. Propagation, your signal was going way down. I might be going down with you as well. So we've had the best of the propagation, so let's enjoy the day. Catch you further down the log. M1PVC, briefly listening, but if not call going QRT.
Yeah, good on that, Paul. It's still a pretty good signal. I'll have to have a rummage around, Paul. It'll be my nephew, I think, or my grandson, who's very sort of into this sort of thing, who can deal with all that, man. I'm way down on my box there, Paul. Bye-bye to you all, and bye-bye, Paul. M1PVC, G3TSK.
Yep, cheers, Colin. M1PVC, going QRT.